everybody, it's great to see you today. Happy Valentine's Day. Today is February 14th. If you're watching this in the morning, I hope you have a wonderful day planned. And if you're watching this in the evening, I hope your day has been just delightful. Today's lesson is entitled A Lesson in Leadership. And I've pulled out Exodus 39:43. Moses inspected all their work. When he found it had been done just as the Lord had commanded them, or him, he blessed them. And I wanted to mention a couple of things about leadership, which we're going to get into in just a little bit. But I know many of you are working and have thriving careers. And I wanted to let you know that I too worked in a corporate environment for almost 20 years. Before leaving in 2009, I worked for a nationwide billion-dollar nonprofit organization, and I was an executive with them. I ran multiple departments during my tenure there and had a span of territory from Georgia to Delaware at the end there before I left, and just really enjoyed my career, enjoyed my time with them, and learned a lot about leadership, both good and bad leadership. And so today I'm going to bring to you some lessons in leadership that I've learned from my time there and how we can really apply that to the word that we're reading today. The passage today was really a short reading. Did you notice that? It shouldn't have taken you any time at all to get through it. It was really very short. Basically, the people brought all of the items that they had made to Moses, and Moses inspected it. He found that it was perfectly completed, just as the Lord had commanded, and then he blessed them. And so the tabernacle was completed in today's lesson, and today is actually the end of Exodus. So we are going to start the book of Numbers tomorrow, which is pretty exciting. And they completed all of these items. How long do you think it took? They completed all of these items in about 5 months. So they got right to work, which I think is a lesson right then and there. When we are asked to do something, we should tackle it with everything that we have, giving it with excellence, and get right to work. And they were able to finish all of these items in the whole tabernacle in 5 months. Now, the tabernacle was not a permanent structure. It was a structure that was designed to be taken apart and taken with them. Because remember, they are sojourners in a land. They are not, this land, this wilderness is not their home. God is delivering them, is taking them somewhere else, and He's showing them how to get to the promised land that He has prepared for them. And isn't that a picture of God in our life today? You know, we are not at home in the world. We're not called to be at home in the world. Heaven is our home. We are heaven bound, and that is our promised land. And the Lord invites us into fellowship with Him and promises to guide us and protect us along the way as He ensures that He will deliver us safely home one day. So here are some lessons in leadership I wanted to share with you. First, for the leaders. The people were able to accomplish this amazing feat because they had great vision and they were all united around a common goal. Everyone knew exactly what they were supposed to do. Everyone knew how they fit in to the big picture. And there was a big picture. There was a vision, and everyone was united around that. So if you're a leader in your organization or a leader in your school or a leader in your home, does everyone have a common vision and know how they fit into that vision? Number 2. Moses was the leader here. Notice he never took a step before he confirmed that the direction was from the Lord. He always made sure that he didn't get ahead of God. So as a leader, are you listening to the Lord? Are you praying? Are you asking Him to give you guidance before you make decisions that affect your company and affect many lives in your business? Now, for the people. The people did their part to remain jazzed up about what they were doing, and they stayed focused. That was their responsibility, to stay focused until it was finished. Notice all the people gave out of a joyful heart, and the resources that were being used came from the people, and they gave willingly and they gave joyfully. Notice too that they didn't follow their own will in wanting to cut corners. They looked at the procedure and they followed the procedure to a T. You know, when I was in business, that was one of the big challenges, was getting the employees to follow procedure, because oftentimes they thought that they could do it a better way, and maybe there was a better way of doing it, but there was something to be said about following procedure. And this is what the people did when they were creating all these items. They followed the procedure to a T. They respected the authority of Moses, and they asked him to inspect their work. And so when I read that, I thought, do we encourage others to inspect our work? I mean, really get in and inspect our work. Do we have humility about our work in taking it to someone else and being humble and asking them for their feedback, asking them for their opinions when we produce something in our place of business? How about this one? Are you concerned about what God thinks about the work that you perform? What would He say if He were to inspect the work? Are you dedicating your work unto the Lord? Are you doing it with a sense of excellence? Or are you trying to cut corners and perhaps not follow procedure, but follow your own will instead of the way that perhaps it would be better or best to be done? Well, one day we will all be presented before the Lord to be inspected. And that should not be a scary day for us, because we are going to pass that test. It says, Paul says in 1 Corinthians 1:8, God will keep you strong to the end, so you will be free from all blame on the day when Christ comes again. And I wanted to just give you that reassurance today and that wonderful reminder. In 1 Corinthians 3, verse 9 and 15, Paul says, we are God's building. Christ is the foundation. And I was reminded of, the tabernacle being a dwelling place, that we are a living temple unto the Lord, and Christ is the foundation. Remember how God said you can use gold, silver, jewels on which to build the tabernacle. And Paul later, we're going to read in the New Testament, he talks about those precious stones that we could use to build our life upon, but there was also wood, hay, and straw that we could also choose to build our life on. And that what's really going to matter when we get to heaven is when we go through that judgment of the refiner's fire, they call it. What's going to last are the things that were gold, silver, and precious jewels. The wood, hay, and the stubble is just going to be burnt up. And what that means is, at the end of your life, you are going to be inspected. And did the things that you did, you performed, you contributed to in your life, did it have meaning? Did it have eternal value? And everything that we do in our life today should have some form of eternal value. That is the perspective that we should have amongst all else. We'll get a reward if it had value, and if the fire burns it up and all that we were working towards in our life didn't have any eternal value, the Bible says that we will suffer loss. What did Moses do after he inspected everything? He found everything was done just as the Lord had commanded him, and he bestowed a blessing, and it was enough for the people. Our blessing will be eternal life in heaven, and it will be so glorious. It will be the best blessing, the best reward that we could ever receive. Notice Moses set up everything exactly like the Lord directed, but he set it up in a certain way from the inside out. He didn't put the outer curtain up first. He put the ark, which was in the center of the most holy place, the most inside piece of furniture that he could place. And that, to me, reminds me that God is more concerned about our hearts, working from the inside out. That is what God does. Moses didn't set it up until God told him to. How often do we in our lives, in the things, the projects, the plans that we have, we oftentimes get ahead of God and we're not patient often enough as we should be to wait until God tells us to take the next step. Psalm 37:23 says, "It is good to see God going before us in every step." And don't miss out in chapter 40 the phrase that's repeated over and over, just as the Lord commanded, just as the Lord commanded. That is repeated more times than holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. This is repeated 6, 7 times. It's repeated over and over. Surely it is meant for us to take note. Are you living your life just as the Lord has commanded? For there is great blessing on the other side for those of us that do. At the end of this chapter, we see the Shekinah glory filling the temple. This was the place that God would call his throne. As he comes and he descends in his glory, this bright, dazzling light, the Shekinah glory of God, God himself is descending and he's coming in to the tabernacle and he is sitting down on the atonement cover, on the ark, in between these two cherubim. And this is the place that he is now calling his throne. You know, any place God has a throne and an altar, there is a living temple. Are you willing to give up your heart, give up your life to him so that he can take up a throne in your heart? What about an altar? Are you living your life sort of as a living sacrifice for him? Are you living as a living temple? You know, the people did whatever the Lord told them to do through Moses, and they enjoyed constant fellowship with God. So here's a question for you. What in your life do you need to go back and inspect just to make sure you are living in the will, in the center of the will of God, just as the Lord has commanded for you? Because there is great blessing for those of us who walk in fellowship with the Lord and do just as he's commanded. This is a call to holiness for us today. As we conclude the book of Exodus, I just would ask that you would take a look and see, is there anything else? If the Lord was to inspect your life today, what would he say? Is there anything else that you need to refine or mold or perhaps hammer out just a bit more? Well, I hope this has been a blessing to you today. I sure do enjoy seeing you each and every day. Thank you so much for joining me in this online Bible study, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow when we start the book of Numbers. Blessings, everybody.